There's only 8% of films that were made by women, and that's a 7-year low. I mean, what do you think that says?
Starts to get dangerous when women have their hands on a lot of money. You know what you're saying? You're saying it's a tiny percentage, but look at how many of those movies were movies that made an impact. Like if you've had your mouth shut for so long, almost like a geyser, like having your hand on something. Well, when it bursts, it's going to come out really powerfully.
Poor Maggie Gyllenhaal. Hey, it's me, Maggie G. Poor Margaret. She's having a tough time right now. I'm sure she is looking for sympathy. I'm sure she is begging for patience and understanding. Now, of course, she's not going to find any of that here. Uncle Casey never, and I mean never, feels sorry for a doofus feminist. Since birth, Maggie Gyllenhaal has been set up for success. Like pretend basketball players in the WNBA dump, Maggie has been given everything she needs to succeed. Her father was a television director. Her mother was a screenwriter who won a Golden Globe back in the late 80s. Her younger brother, Jake, he's one of the most famous actors in Hollywood. Her husband has enjoyed a long, successful career in TV and movies. The success of the Gyllenhaal family, it goes back hundreds of years. Their lineage goes back to the 1600s, where they are recognized as a noble family in Sweden. Unfortunately, though, for Maggie Gyllenhaal, success is not hereditary. Unfortunately for the Magster, no amount of nepotism can force normal people to willingly consume her polished turds. The centuries of success in the Gyllenhaal family, it could not stop Margaret's first major big budget film project from being a huge embarrassing failure. Have you guys ever seen the classic movie 8 Mile? Unlike Maggie Gyllenhaal's latest film, The Bride, which is a feminist remake of the classic Frankenstein, unlike that pile of steaming shit, 8 Mile was a commercial and critical success. It's a semi-autobiographical film about the early life of Marshall Mathers, or as kids prefer to call him when they're begging their mother for candy at the gas station, Eminem. The lead song on the soundtrack, it's a song called Lose Yourself. The premise of the song is about taking advantage of the opportunities that you're given, because oftentimes you only get one chance. You get one chance to make a first impression. You get one chance to prove yourself. Going into last season, Spencer Rattler, he was given the opportunity to secure his spot as the starting quarterback in New Orleans. He won the job in training camp. For the first time in his young NFL career, he would be playing with a fully healthy roster. This was his chance. This was his moment. And Spence Rattler decided to play it safe. Watching Spence during the first half of last season, it was abundantly clear that he was playing not to lose instead of playing to win. He refused to take chances. He was scared to make mistakes. Halfway through the season, Kellen Moore benches Spence and gives the job to Tyler Shuck, and we didn't see Spencer Rattler the rest of the season. Who in the hell knows if he will ever start another game in the NFL? He could be a career backup, or he could be out of the league by the end of next season. Back in 2021, Maggie Gyllenhaal, she made her directorial debut with a movie called The Lost Daughter. It was a low-budget project. She was only given $5 million to make the movie, but since critics praised this appealing turd, Warner Brothers, they decided to give her a massive increase for her next project, which was The Bride, a feminist perspective of the classic Frankenstein. Unfortunately for Maggie Gyllenhaal, This might be the last time she is given the job title of girl boss. The Mankster made the crucial mistake of indoctrinating her audience instead of entertaining them. And this mistake, it caused Warner Brothers to lose hundreds of millions of dollars. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at Casey_BTL84. Link to the second channel is in the description below. Today on the second channel, going to be talking about a superstar NBA player wanting to play and his team refusing to put him on the court. Now, normally, it's the other way around. Normally, star NBA players aren't interested in playing in the regular season, but in Milwaukee, we have a case of reverse load management. So if you haven't already, click the link in the description below, subscribe to the second channel. Last month, The Bride was released in over 3,300 theaters nationwide. Warner Brothers spent $80-90 million to produce this turd, which I find to be absolutely unbelievable. My Yorkies chew an Oreo. They produce multiple turds a day for free. And their process of producing those turds, it would generate more money than Maggie Gyllenhaal did at the box office. Once you add in marketing and promotion cost, Warner Brothers spent well over $300 million on this project. In its first week of release, Maggie Gyllenhaal generated a cool $7 million at the box office, but that's okay. No need to worry. There's still plenty of time to recoup the investment. With the film being released in late February, early March, I'm sure Maggie Gyllenhaal was dealing with stiff competition. Spring weather, college basketball, the stars of the WNBA qualifying for the World Cup in front of an empty arena in Puerto Rico, which looked similar to the empty movie theaters here in America. The Mankster, she was dealing with plenty of competition. I'm sure she performed much better in her second week, her third week, right? As of today, Feminist Frankenstein has generated just over $11 million at the box office. The Mankster is averaging around $600 in sales per theater. Now, that's not per showing. That's not per hour. Margaret is averaging just over $600 per day. But again, no big deal, right? Oftentimes, when a Hollywood turd bombs in America, which happens very often, the production company, they're able to recoup their losses by exporting the woke fungus overseas. In some cases, a woke classic might generate $20 million domestically, but it will generate several hundred million internationally. Unfortunately for Maggie Gyllenhaal, that is not the case with The Bride. If you combine domestic and international sales, The Bride has generated just over $20 million against an estimated budget of over $300 million. You're looking at losses of over $200 million. I think it's safe to say that Maggie Gyllenhaal is going to get fired. You know, when I was younger, I used to make fun of my dad for listening to the oldies, which is what music from the 60s and 70s was called at the time. I'd make fun of him for watching old shows on TV. Hell, earlier this week, I was visiting with my uncle who's in the hospital, and he's watching Gunsmoke and the Golden Girls. But as I've gotten older, I've realized that I'm doing the exact same thing. I never listen to modern music. I listen to music that I grew up with. When I'm in my studio prepping videos, I'm watching older TV shows. Right now, I am rewatching old seasons of The Challenge on MTV that aired 20 years ago, and I've seen them countless times. I have a large library of shows that I watch over and over and over. Initially, I thought it was just me getting older. We have a tendency to watch shows or listen to music that has a nostalgia factor to it. When I'm watching something that aired when I was in my 20s, it takes me back to that time period when I was in my 20s. So age definitely has something to do with it, but I think the main reason I am hesitant to embrace newer shows, a lot of modern entertainment sucks. I mean, it sucks. A lot of these modern shows, they're more worried about meeting diversity quotas instead of making compelling television. Even with reality shows, people are no longer willing to take risks. One of the things that made reality television so great 20 years ago, people weren't worried about being influencers. They weren't worried about backlash on social media because social media was in its infancy. They weren't worried about brand deals. The only thing they were worried about was making good TV because they knew if they made compelling television, they would have a job next season. Today, you can't fight or bully people on reality TV. That's mean. You can't have heated arguments on sensitive topics. Someone might get offended. We have to think about their feelings. When is the last time Hollywood produced a classic movie? When Goodfellas came out in the early 90s, it was an instant classic. Even movies from the time that were made for kids, The Sandlot, Rookie of the Year, Home Alone, Christmas Vacation, those movies are timeless. Hell, they're still playing on TV to this day. When Titanic came out in 97, it was considered to be one of the best movies ever made. When is the last time Hollywood produced movies like that? Now, a movie comes out, it bombs in theaters, and we never see it again. Meanwhile, Hollywood blames the economy, they blame short attention spans. Netflix is literally making movies where the plot is incessantly repeated throughout the film because they're worried about people looking at their phones and not paying attention. What about the people who are paying attention? Why should we be penalized because lonely men are distracting themselves by spanking the wanker during the movie? The main problem with Hollywood, they continue to produce garbage that's appealing to a smaller and smaller audience. And instead of making changes, Hollywood continues to blame everyone but themselves. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys later.